Jennifer responds to husband Christian's order to pay victims, almost $400K, after fake investment. Jennifer and Christian were once considered one of the most admired couples in their social circle, known for their luxurious lifestyle and ambitious business ventures. But recently, their world has been shaken by a financial scandal that has left many questioning everything they thought they knew about the couple. Christian, the face of a high-profile investment scheme, was recently ordered by the court to pay nearly $400,000 to investors who lost their money in what authorities have called a failed and misleading investment. The news shocked fans and followers, not only because of the amount involved, but because of the way this scandal threatened to tarnish the couple's carefully built reputation. Amidst the growing scrutiny and the flood of public opinions, Jennifer has now stepped forward, breaking her silence and speaking out about the situation. Her response is being watched closely, as people wonder whether she will defend her husband, distance herself, or offer an apology on behalf of the family. This story is more than just numbers and legal rulings. It is a tale of trust, accountability, and the personal cost of public scrutiny, and it raises the question, how does a family survive when one partner's choices shake the very foundation of their lives? Jennifer and Christian had always appeared to the public as the perfect power couple. Christian, a charismatic entrepreneur, had built a name for himself in the business world, often speaking at conferences and sharing his success stories with anyone who would listen. Jennifer, on the other hand, had become the family's public voice, admired for her poise, elegance, and ability to connect with people on a personal level. Together, they seemed unstoppable, a couple whose life was a mix of high-profile business ventures, luxurious vacations, and a carefully curated image of success. Fans often looked up to them as a model of ambition and partnership, seeing a family that seemed to balance love, work, and wealth effortlessly. But behind closed doors, the story was more complicated. While Christian focused on investments and financial deals, Jennifer managed the public-facing side of their life, sometimes unaware of the full extent of Christian's risky ventures. The couple's dynamic, which had once been a source of admiration, would soon be tested like never before when the consequences of one of Christian's investments began to ripple through their personal and professional lives. It became clear that appearances can be deceiving, and even the most polished couples can face challenges that threaten everything they have worked for. The scandal began when Christian launched a high-profile investment scheme that promised investors unusually high returns in a short period of time. At first, everything seemed legitimate. He held meetings, shared projections, and even had several success stories from early participants. Many people trusted him, believing in his reputation and the seemingly transparent way he presented the opportunity. But behind the polished presentations and confident pitches, there were warning signs that most outsiders, and even Jennifer herself, did not see. Within months, it became clear that the investment was failing and the promised returns were not materializing. Investors, who had trusted Christian with their life savings or hard-earned money, started losing significant amounts. The situation escalated when authorities began investigating, labeling the scheme misleading and potentially fraudulent. After a thorough legal process, the court ruled that Christian must pay almost $400,000 to compensate the affected investors, a sum that sent shockwaves through the couple's personal and public life. This scandal was more than a financial loss. It called into question Christian's judgment, credibility, and ethics, while also putting Jennifer in an uncomfortable spotlight as the public wondered whether she had been aware of, or even complicit in, the risky decisions. Suddenly, the couple's image of success and trustworthiness was overshadowed by controversy and public scrutiny. After days of silence, Jennifer finally decided to address the public, sharing her thoughts in a statement that was both measured and heartfelt. She began by acknowledging the pain and frustration experienced by the investors, expressing genuine empathy for those who had trusted her husband and suffered financial losses. At the same time, Jennifer made it clear that while she fully supports accountability, she had not been aware of the full scope of Christian's financial decisions, emphasizing that she had relied on him to manage the complexities of their business ventures. Her words struck a delicate balance between honesty and protection. She wanted to show compassion without completely distancing herself from her husband. Jennifer spoke about the lessons this ordeal had taught her about oversight, transparency, and responsibility, framing the scandal as a wake-up call not just for their family, but for anyone navigating financial decisions. she also subtly highlighted the personal toll of public scrutiny, explaining that behind the headlines were real people struggling to protect their family, reputation, and integrity. Through her statement, Jennifer aimed to regain a sense of trust with the public while remaining true to herself and her family, showing that even in times of controversy, accountability and empathy could coexist. After days of speculation and mounting media pressure, Jennifer finally stepped forward to address the growing controversy surrounding her family. She released a carefully written statement on her social media platforms, speaking directly to both the public and those affected by the failed investment. Jennifer began by acknowledging the pain and frustration of the investors, emphasizing that she understood how devastating it could be to lose money entrusted to someone you believed in. She expressed heartfelt empathy, making it clear that she did not take the situation lightly and that she personally felt the weight of the losses caused by her husband's decisions. Jennifer went on to explain her position with transparency, admitting that while she had been involved in some aspects of their businesses, she had not been fully aware of the depth or risks of the particular investment that went wrong. She clarified that she trusted Christian to handle the financial side of things, and that the family's focus had always been on building long-term success. However, the outcome of this situation, she stated, was a humbling reminder that oversight and accountability are essential, even in matters handled by someone you trust deeply. Her statement also highlighted the personal toll of the scandal. Jennifer shared that the couple had been navigating sleepless nights, tension, and emotional strain behind closed doors, showing a human side that went beyond headlines and public opinion. She spoke about the challenge of balancing family, public perception, and moral responsibility, emphasizing that mistakes, while painful, could also be opportunities for learning and growth. In closing, Jennifer expressed a commitment to ensuring that such situations would be prevented in the future. She stressed that the family was taking concrete steps to increase transparency, implement checks and balances, and engage more directly with all financial decisions moving forward. Her response struck a chord with some, who saw her honesty and empathy as a refreshing contrast to the usual defensive statements in high-profile scandals. Yet it also left room for critics to question how much she had truly known and when she should have acted. Through it all, Jennifer positioned herself as a figure trying to navigate the storm of public scrutiny while maintaining family unity, accountability, and personal integrity. A nuanced approach that humanized the story and made her response both relatable and memorable. Jennifer's statement quickly went viral, sparking a flood of reactions across social media, news outlets, and public forums. Supporters praised her honesty, empathy, and courage for speaking out in such a difficult situation, highlighting the emotional intelligence she showed while addressing both the victims and her family's struggles. Many fans expressed admiration for the way she balanced accountability with compassion, noting that it is rare to see someone in her position openly acknowledge pain caused by a loved one while still protecting family integrity. On the other hand, critics were quick to voice skepticism. Some questioned whether Jennifer truly knew the extent of Christian's financial decisions and suggested that her delayed response indicated complicity or negligence. Headlines ranged from sympathetic profiles of a woman caught in an unexpected scandal to critical articles questioning the couple's credibility and ethical standards. The social media conversation became particularly heated, with hashtags trending about the scandal, Jennifer's statement, and the court's ruling. Memes, threads, and opinion videos dissected every word of her message, amplifying both support and criticism. Within this chaos, Jennifer's words seemed to resonate most with people who could relate to family conflicts, trust issues, and the challenges of navigating public scrutiny. Even among the harshest critics, some admitted that her emphasis on learning from mistakes and implementing stronger oversight was a responsible approach. The overall public reaction painted a complex picture. Admiration and empathy clashed with doubt and scrutiny, reflecting the polarized way society reacts to scandals involving high-profile figures. For Jennifer and Christian, this public response was more than just online chatter. It was a mirror showing how deeply their actions and the fallout from them had affected their reputation, relationships, and future path. The scandal didn't just affect Jennifer and Christian financially, it shook the very foundation of their personal and public lives. Overnight, their reputation as a successful, trustworthy couple was called into question, and the public began scrutinizing every aspect of their business and family decisions. Business partners became cautious, contracts were delayed, and some opportunities that had once been easily within reach were now under review. leaving Christian to navigate a sudden wave of professional uncertainty. At home, the pressure was equally intense. Jennifer and Christian faced tension, sleepless nights, and difficult conversations as they tried to reconcile their private trust with the very public consequences of the failed investment. Even small decisions became emotional, as both struggled with feelings of guilt, blame, and responsibility. The emotional toll extended beyond their relationship. Family members, friends, and close associates were drawn into the stress, with some trying to mediate and others distancing themselves to avoid public scrutiny. Social events that once celebrated their success were now reminders of how quickly fortune and public perception could change. For Jennifer, the challenge was particularly acute. She needed to maintain her public image as a composed, empathetic figure while also protecting her family from further damage. Christian, meanwhile, faced the dual burden of legal obligations and the need to rebuild trust with those he had financially affected. The couple had to confront an uncomfortable truth. Wealth, status, and success could not shield them from the consequences of their decisions. Yet, amidst the strain, there was also a glimmer of resilience. The experience forced them to reevaluate their priorities, strengthen their communication, and consider the importance of transparency and accountability in every aspect of their lives. The scandal had changed them, not just in the eyes of the public, but in how they saw themselves, their relationship, and the path forward. As the dust from the scandal began to settle, Jennifer took a moment to reflect on everything that had happened, both publicly and privately. She acknowledged that the experience had been painful, humbling, and life-changing, but also a powerful lesson in accountability, trust, and resilience. Jennifer emphasized that while mistakes, especially those made by someone you love, can have far-reaching consequences, they also provide an opportunity for growth and self-awareness. She spoke about the importance of being more involved in financial decisions, asking questions, and ensuring transparency, not just for her family's security, but also as an example for others who may find themselves trusting blindly in high-stakes situations. Jennifer also reflected on the personal cost of living under constant public scrutiny. She admitted that the emotional toll had been heavy, with nights filled with worry, criticism, and second-guessing. But she found strength in the unity of her family and the support of those who understood that human error does not define a person completely. She framed the scandal not only as a cautionary tale for financial responsibility, but also as a story about empathy, integrity, and the power of owning one's mistakes. Though the future remained uncertain, Jennifer's closing message was clear. Accountability, honesty, and compassion must guide every step forward. And even in the face of public controversy, it is possible to rebuild trust, protect family bonds, and emerge stronger. For viewers, her reflection offered both a cautionary warning and a relatable human story, a reminder that wealth and success are fragile, but the values we uphold in the hardest times are what truly define us.